How's everybody doing? No Jeff Rust here.
Nope.
No Jeff Rust here.
No Rusticles.
It's his birthday. It's his birthday.
He can cry if he wants to.
Tomorrow is his birthday. So make sure we reach out to Rust. Wish him a happy birthday tomorrow. He'll be out today and tomorrow. He's doing his... I'm assuming they just went to Manzanita. That's what the Rust do.
Yeah.
But he is out. It's his birthday tomorrow, so we'll celebrate his birthday. But that means Will Ortner's here doing updates.
Indeed.
Hey, Will.
What up, dude?
Everybody have a good weekend? Good weekend?
A great weekend.
Yeah?
Yeah. But spent the day out on the boat yesterday, out on the water.
Ooh, nice.
It's wonderful. It's a nice, crisp 91 degrees.
Mm.
Every time you get warm, you just go ploop and just hop in the water.
Yeah, watch him dodge those turds in the river.
You know, look, man, being down in the that part of the water, it's not quite as bad.
Yeah, if the Olympic triathletes have to do it,
Yeah.
I think it's no big deal.
And they do it in, like,
Basically
fresh
all
poop.
Olympians. Yeah, I mean,
it's Paris, man.
That's
That's
not good.
No, it's not good. Threw my wife in the inner tube and trolled her around for a little bit. Just kind of pulled her back and forth across the wake.
Mm-hmm.
And then after about, I don't know, 5-7 minutes, I decided I needed to establish some order.
Oh, so you're in the doghouse?
No, she loved it.
You toss her?
I absolutely threw her. I snapped her so far outside the wake that she passed the boat, and which makes probably about 25 feet of slack. And then I hammered the throttle back down to pull her back into the wake. Threw her probably 6-7 feet in the air.
Oh boy!
And she opted to sit in the tube as opposed to lay on it.
That's a rookie move.
Look, it's more comfortable.
It's a rookie move.
But when you start leaning, there's no control. You're done. So she went even parallel with the water. Midair, and I'm like, I could see it in the mirror, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. She absolutely threw her out of the tube. She skipped like a rock, like 20 feet.
I love that.
It was great.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Those are the little things that you could just be like, hey, we're just tubing.
Yeah, no.
But it's your sweet revenge.
It was. It was fun.
There's probably months of pent up arguments that you've been sitting there just sitting in your brain, and you're like, well, how about these dishes being done? Wham! Wow. Okay. Well, that's one way to do it.
It was fun. She had a blast.
Good.
She had never really wrecked like that before, so it was a surprise to her.
Center flying, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Look at that.
No, the having water shoved down your nose at that speed is
it's a hell of a thing.
It's a different feeling.
It's a hell of a deal.
It's a different feeling.
It's a hell of a deal. Well, good. I'm glad everybody got out and enjoyed the sunshine a little bit.
I didn't really have
That's
a
good.
choice. My internet was out for a day and a half. So
I wouldn't mind that. What happened with your internet?
I don't know.
You were
Still
digging a hole in your backyard.
No. I just
you hit a line.
hit a line.
somewhere.
No, come on, man. I don't bury anything on my property.
Internet went out for a day and a half. That was your cable out too? Like
yeah,
your TV?
everything's
out.
Yeah. We were out.
I wouldn't mind that.
It went out before we went out of the water, and I was like, oh, it'll probably be back when we get home. And well, I got home and
I don't think
still out. And I was like, oh, this is a problem.
Yeah, that gets you, but you're back up and running.
Yeah, as
back
of this
up
morning.
running.
So
okay, that is something that I don't know if the inconvenience of it when your internet goes out, you're like, damn, how much we rely on it now
well, for everything,
you know. But there's also a part of me where it's like,
just a little bit of relief. Like you're like,
yeah,
oh,
you get to detach from some stuff for a while,
yeah.
and
when we got home from the water, I mean, when you're out on the water for 6-7 hours, you come home and you're exhausted.
Yeah.
So we just took a nap anyways.
Perfect.
So
see,
yeah, but my wife works from home, so she was like, if I have to go into work tomorrow.
She had to go into work.
She did not. I got it fixed before she. I was like, just tell the people down there we have somebody coming this morning.
Okay.
So they showed up this morning and got it squared away.
Well, good. At least it was prompt.
They were going to put me on the schedule for tomorrow, and I may have made a big deal about it.
Oh, okay.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
I'm on the radio.
Do you know what I need to do?
I didn't go quite that far, but I was prepared.
You were going to do that?
You're going to name drop yourself? I'm Danny Moran.
No. I wasn't going to name drop myself. I was doing it for my wife.
But you were going to name drop.
No, not name drop.
What would you have said? What would you? Let's role play.
I would have press the urgency of needing it.
How would you have done that, sir? We can't get out there till Tuesday.
I would have done something along the lines. I would have lied. I would have lied through my teeth
Okay.
and said something along the lines like, I work from home and I cannot not do this anywhere else.
How often do you think they get that? Like, dude, that's probably the most common, and they probably have their little sheet of responses that they get to, which is, well, I'm very sorry. That's unfortunate that this happened. We're very sorry that you have this outage right now, but there's nothing that we can do. There's
I would have
a lot
reached-
of people that do work from home.
I would have reached further and been like, well, my wife also has a job that requires her to work from home, and that is quite important. I would not have said anything about mine.
Well, sir, you can go to an internet cafe. You can go to Starbucks.
She cannot.
They've got
She
they've
cannot.
got free
She
Wi-Fi.
she needs a protected space.
Mm. Well, looks like she's gonna have to take a day off because you don't have internet.
Yeah,
And then that's when you go, do you know who I am?
that would have gotten to that stage.
Oh, God.
I don't like.
And then
doing
you
it.
know what they would have said? No, we don't
No,
know
we
who
don't,
you
and
are.
we don't
We'll
care.
see you Tuesday.
Yeah. But no,
That's the
I didn't.
honestly, that is the
I didn't have to
worst.
go that far. I've only ever done that once.
Did it work?
Oh God, yeah.
You were like, I'm the great Danny Meringue, and then all of a sudden
in
the
what
floodgates.
scenario did you use this and
I'm
how
not-
did it work?
No, a company screwed up royally, and it wasn't even for me. It was my dad,
Okay.
and I went ballistic on them, and I ended up absolutely thrashing them all over social media, and they called almost immediately to rectify the situation.
Mm.
So,
So you would have gone, do you know how many followers I have? Do you know how many people follow me on Twitter?
uh-huh.
I think, though, when you're dealing with
Comcast doesn't care.
an internet provider, they're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Also, it's Comcast. Everybody knows they know everyone hates them.
Yeah,
you know.
it's a get in line, buddy.
Yeah, 100%. But no, I don't. I always feel nasty doing that.
You were in that realm of
I was prepared to do whatever I needed to do.
to get the internet back
Yeah.
up and running.
Yeah.
Just get the internet back up and running.
I don't care how much of an a-hole it makes me look like.
I wonder if it's like, so think of that. The companies that they really don't care about you. Airlines, cable and internet providers, they know that they got you by the short ones.
Cell phone
and
companies.
They go, yes. You know what? I think cell phone companies have gotten a little bit better.
It's because, weirdly enough, the government actually broke up a bunch of stuff with them.
And now there's actually options that
Yeah.
you can go to. Like the worst part with internet is that you're like, I'm not going to do this internet anymore. And they're like, okay.
Good luck.
As they got a map up going, yeah, you're not going anywhere
I
else.
have Ziply now.
You do.
As an option.
You have an option?
I've used that against Xfinity
But-
Comcast before.
And like that's the worst though with like airlines when you have a flight booked and they're like, okay, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, and thankfully the government has intervened. Look at this government intervention actually working with cell phone companies and airlines
To an extent.
to an extent.
We'll see what happens.
Not
with
on the doors.
No. Well, they're getting into that now.
Yeah.
They're getting into
No,
that
the
now.
government actually got paid for that.
Yeah, and they're gonna come back around and
Yeah.
say we're gonna go no countsies on the multiple deaths here.
Yeah.
On the hundreds of
We're
deaths.
going to keep the doors
and doors
closed.
flying off.
Yeah.
We're gonna call no countsies on that. But moving forward, you better not, guys. You better not. I think with airlines though, there's kind of this. There's always the buyer beware airlines, right? Your Spirits, Frontiers. There's this.
Hooters.
You know what you're getting. Hooters Airlines.
They had an airlines.
Everybody had an airline
Yeah.
back in the day. Like
that a
there was
thing?
a lot. Well, I don't know.
Is
Like everyone had one?
Virgin's still
Virgin.
around. Yeah.
They got great flights
Yeah.
I
internationally.
think they
Internationally,
pop up
yeah.
every year.
Yeah. And then you have a lot of them have gone the way of the dodo because they
Mhm.
just get overpowered and bought out. But airlines, cable internet, I will throw the cell phones, but I think they're getting better. They know that you don't have anywhere else to go,
Yeah, they call it a monopoly. It's not supposed to happen.
and they just do not give a rip.
No, it's like
If
trash
you care or
companies.
not.
Like we have one option for trash, and you're just like, this is okay, huh?
Yeah.
We're just told what we're going to be paying, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait, what?
Mhm.
What? No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's very dumb. I don't
Yeah.
like it.
I saw a headline, did not read the article. PG wants to go for like a 10.6% rate increase
Yeah, good luck with
again.
Yeah.
And they've already raised it like
Mhm.
46%.
Yeah.
Cool. Nobody needs lights. That's a tough one too.
that. It's
That's
yeah.
a tough one.
No, it's
Because
seen,
it's like,
have you seen what those
alright.
PG workers make?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Holy crap!
Well, I'm glad you got your internet back and you didn't have to.
Act like a douche canoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, trust me.
Yeah.
Look, I didn't want to, but
Mm.
I'm sitting here with my wife staring out the hole in my face. I am not driving into work today.
Oh,
And I was like,
well, you might have to.
yeah.
I wonder how many people are just like, I never want to have a job where I have to go in again.
I mean, that's a real thing. I mean, we did the PDXYZ last week,
Yeah.
and the office space around here. I think Portland's office space is only at like 40-something% capacity.
Yeah.
It's like something around 60% of the commercial real estate is empty in Portland.
But you do have companies that are now being like, no, come on, you have to be. There is something to effective workplace environments in being in person, knowing the people you're working
100%.
beside and
Like-
working along.
Like you and
with.
I have done some Zoom stuff before, and it's absolutely unabashedly miserable. Even
Yeah.
though it's like people say all you're doing is talking. It's like it doesn't work when you're not in the same room. It's very weird.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Right.
Trust me.
Yeah. Ooh, we got a Vancouver Ford text line. You would have sounded like Diana Ross pulled over for her DUI. Do you know who I am? Yes. You're a drunk bee going to jail.
Yeah, 100%.
Or Justin Timberlake, where
Mm.
Justin Timberlake asked the officer if he knew who he was, and he's like, I don't.
Yeah.
It's
I
gonna
don't."
ruin the world tour.
Gonna
That's a
ruin the
tough
world
one.
tour,
Gonna
yeah.
ruin the world tour. This is it. I don't think it's ruining Justin Timberlake's world tour,
That's
though.
a great line, though.
I use it a lot in everyday life.
Gonna ruin the
Yeah,
world tour.
gonna ruin the world tour.
What's a
This
what's a
is
bigger
it.
move? Handing out the your playing card or saying
Ooh.
you're ruining the world tour?
Quintel Woods. I would say your rookie card.
Yeah.
I think your rookie card, because it's also like Justin Timberlake. That cop should have known who Justin Timberlake is.
Yeah,
He probably
even-
did know who he was, but he
Yeah.
went with you're being a D-bag. I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction.
No, you're still going. Quintel Woods
Just holds
handing
it up
over
next
his
to him.
rookie card and being like, yeah, this is my ID. You're not good enough to do
No.
that. You know?
Power move, though.
That's like, yeah. My great grandpa Don was a cab driver, and he played for the Yankees. He pitched for the Yankees, and he had in his wallet where his driver's license should be his baseball card, and it was like, Grandpa Don, you need your license with you. You are a professional driver
Mm.
of human beings.
This counts. This counts.
You can't do that, man. You can't be doing that. Could you imagine that though? Like, I mean, I wonder how many current baseball players think of that now. If you were to go, and even like my great grandpa Don, he didn't play a long time in the major leagues, but he pitched in a World Series and he won a game in the World Series. Could you imagine any of those guys, any of these pitchers now ending up driving cab in the back end of their lives? Because
Yeah.
we do have the, what is it? 50% of professional athletes end up broke 5 years after. What they do now though is they just start training kids. Like the new wave of athlete is like, I'm just going to open up like a pitching school. I'm going to
Yeah.
go and
The
just
thing-
train
I don't need to
guys.
learn to do something else. I'm just going to do the thing that I used to do and just
Yeah.
not do it, but
Yeah.
teach, air quotes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Grandpa Don's pitching school would have been a little unique though. He was like, what you need to do.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He's like, I strengthened my arm. I threw a tennis ball at our stoop because I didn't have anything else. It was like, oh, so you just threw things at stairs.
Mm.
Life without internet.
Yeah, life without internet.
See, this is where internet was probably good.
That and a steady dose of brown water. I
Mm.
think that would have been his training regimen. Probably not good for the kids.
No.
But
Tou-
but
might-
you know what?
might
Toughen them up a little bit.
They might be able to throw more than 75 pitches. Just saying. Might not have a whole lot of break on the curveball, but I bet you they can go out there and eat up innings.
Yeah. Yeah, just go out there and just throw it till your arm falls off,
Yeah.
buddy.
No RPMs on the pitches, but my God, can they go out there and throw?
That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. I don't know how we got here, but we're off and rolling. All right. It is a Monday show, and we're actually loaded on this Monday. The calendar has turned to August. We've already had the Hall of Fame game last Thursday, which gave us a nothing burger. But it does mean that training camp competitions are hot and heavy. We will go around, take a whip around the NFL. Some surprising battles that could be won by guys we thought may have been done. And so we'll go around the NFL. We got some baseball notes today. I got some baseball stuff. Yeah. The White Sox are really bad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're making a run at history tonight.
I mean, if you're gonna suck something fierce.
Yeah. You know what? They got a shot though tonight. And then we have Olympics to talk about because all is right in the world. The fastest man in the world resides in the United States of America. That's great to have. And also Ryan Krauser, boring Oregon zone. Ryan Krauser, three-peat as a gold medalist in the shot put. Is he the greatest athlete to ever come from the state of Oregon? Can you qualify spinning and chucking 16 pounds, 74 feet as the greatest athlete to come from the state of Oregon? 503-864-6326. That's Vancouver Forward text line. And that's one of the pressing questions that we'll have for you today. But where we got to start this bad boy off, the first meaningless poll of the season is out. Are the Ducks the third best team in college football? Danny and Dusty on the Fan. USLBM is? Anybody?
No.
Anybody know?
Yes,
Well,
labor board?
United States.
Yes.
I went labor board.
You're going to labor board,
Yeah.
huh?
Hmm.
It is building materials.
Mm.
Labor building materials.
No, it's close with labor. Okay.
Yeah, they do building materials. That's what USLBM is, and they are now the proud sponsors of the coaches poll. USLBM is the largest privately owned full line distributor of specialty building materials. How about that? Learn something new every day.
Somebody is 100% funneling money somewhere there. That just doesn't make any sense.
Well, they just want to get their name out, and so
Mm.
they're doing it in the college football coaches poll. And the first coaches poll has been released, and preseason polls, I don't care about them.
Yes, you do.
I really
You do.
Is there anything that is a shot in the dark more than a coaches poll, a preseason coaches poll? Here's the thing about coaches polls. They're mostly made up by GAs and support staffers, or they'll go to a guy like I don't know, your director of football operations, and be like, "Hey, you're going to do that this year," because the voters on the coaches poll, you have Major Applewhite of South Alabama,
Mm.
Tim Beck of Coastal Carolina. Who knew he was there now? Tim Beck, former Minnesota head coach,
Okay.
I think. Ryan Day. You think Ryan Day of Ohio State every week is diving into his coaches poll? Dan Lanning, Oregon coach Dan Lanning, is a voter on the coaches poll this year.
Mm.
Kenny Dillingham of Arizona State, Kalen DeBoer. I don't think any of these guys.
How dare you? How dare you insinuate that these men would let their names be put on this, and that they themselves would not do it?
No, I think that what happens is like their director of football ops hands it to him and says, "I got this for you," or a GA hands it to him and says, "Here's your coach's poll. Does it look okay?" And he's like, "I don't care." Yes, they have so many other things on their plate. I don't really think that they care. But the coaches poll is out, and the top 5 go as follows. Number 1, Georgia, taking up 46 first-place votes, the Georgia Bulldogs.
That's a lot of those.
Yeah. Ohio State is second with 7 first-place votes.
There's a pretty large distortion in first place votes here.
I would say so.
There's no like, well, I think this. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
In favor of Georgia.
Then Oregon is third with no first-place votes.
I found that to be a little interesting.
Yeah. Texas is fourth. They got 1 first-place votes, and then Alabama rounds out the top 5. Also, 0 first-place votes. The only other team to get a first-place vote was Michigan.
Which, again, I found interesting.
Well, I think somebody just, like, that's one of the good old boys just saying, or is Sharon Moore on
Yeah,
a voter on
is
this?
he a voter on this? Yeah.
I mean, that could be it right there. But that is your top 5: Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, which seems to be the common top 5 that you've seen circulating around college football. We have seen, like, from writers and media outlets, you would have Ohio State has been number 1 in a lot of them that have come out. But these are the official polls. The coaches poll and the AP top 25 are the 2 official polls until we get to the playoff rankings, college football playoff top 25, which doesn't come out until later in the season after the novel idea, after they actually see teams play college football this year.
I don't like that.
It's crazy, right?
I like throwing it against the wall and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because then it's fun to go back and look at it and go, hey, dummy.
Yeah. Yeah. But
That's
I think
the only purpose these things serve.
100%.
But again, why not? Because it's August what?
It's August 5th.
5th?
And it generates conversation around
It's
the sport.
something
And
to
that's
talk about. It's all it is.
It gives fans something to look forward to as the season is about to get underway.
Or be mad about.
If you look at how the rest of the top 25 sorted out, SEC with 9 teams, we're talking consolidation of power, 9 SEC teams in the top 25, 6 from the Big Ten. So if you're doing the math on that, 15 of the top 25 come from 2 conferences. The Big 12 has 5 teams, with their highest team being Utah at 13th, and ACC with 4 teams, with Florida State being the highest at 10th. The only, if you're doing math in your head there, that is 24 teams. The other team ranked, Notre Dame, in the top 25. But the top 10 consists of 4 SEC, 4 Big 10, 1 ACC, and Notre Dame in the top 10.
There you go.
And Notre Dame may be falling because their starting left tackle just went down for the year with the torn pec.
Yeah, that's not great, Bob.
When you're trying to replace Joe Alt, who's the 5th overall pick by the Chargers, and you have to replace him before the season you've even played a game because he tore his pec, that's not good.
Tearing your pec just sounds
Miserable.
absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've seen guys that tear their pec, like Suk tore his pec
Yeah.
not too long ago. But when you tear, I've seen guys that have torn their pec,
The full detach.
bench pressing, and it
Mhm.
just balls up in the
Mhm.
middle, like it just like goes to the middle of your body. You can't do anything.
No.
man. And so
I've avoided
That
pretty much
sucks.
all of the upper body tears.
yeah, your lower body is a mess.
Yeah,
we know that.
Yeah, no, it's a mess from the hips down. But yeah, the whole idea of tearing your pec, though, it's like, good. Didn't Rashawn Slater, the Chargers, didn't he tear his pec? Isn't that what happened to him?
I think so.
It seems kind of weird. Like, and these guys aren't like tearing them like lifting.
Yeah.
It's you get torn pecs in practices.
It's when you get hit with a rushing D end and you've got one arm extended, or if you have an arm and it gets caught in between 2 other guys and then gets yanked back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get that,
That
extension
lever,
out
yeah.
with strong human beings
Pushing against it.
Yeah. That's gnarly.
Ugh.
But that is your top 10 is dominated by the SEC and the Big 10. This should be a surprise to nobody. Like nobody whatsoever.
No.
When you look at why the Big 10 and the SEC expanded the way they did, this was it. This is exactly like they wanted. They wanted to go out.
Control the basically the top 40 of college football, have it be their 2 conferences.
Consolidation of power.
Yeah.
I think the pressing question that a lot of folks have, and I've seen this a lot already, Oregon at 3. Are the Oregon Ducks the 3rd best team in college football? And a lot of people are wondering, what has Oregon done to get this moniker of the 3rd best team in all of college football? You are looking at a program that replaces their quarterback, who was a first-round draft pick.
Mhm.
You are revamping your entire secondary, and you were replacing the best center in all of college football in Jackson Powers Johnson from a year ago. On top of that, your defensive line, 2 of your biggest factors on your defensive line from a year ago, they are also being replaced.
Is that a lot?
Yeah, seems like a lot. Why is Oregon seen as kind of this darling of college football? We'll get to that after Will with SportsCenter. You can also text us on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, or after the sale. Visit them online at vancouverford.com or in the YouTube comments, youtube.com/1080am The Fan. Are the Oregon Ducks deserving of the number 3 ranking in the preseason college football coaches poll? Yes or no? We're keeping it simple on this one.
Yeah, there isn't enough forced leniency being done in this poll.
No, we're making you choose a side.
Hmm.
That's what we're supposed to do here.
Okay.
We're forcing you to pick a direction, damn it. There is a lot of people that are skeptical of Oregon at 3 and the hype that is around the University of Oregon and their team heading into the 2024 season. And when you look at a team from a year ago that had 2 losses on the season, both of them to the national runner-up, the University of Washington, in the regular season and in the conference championship game, they didn't get a great measuring stick in the Fiesta Bowl, obviously, playing Liberty and just absolutely running them into the ground in Arizona. But you look at the way that Oregon has gone about building their roster over the last handful of years, in the fact that you have a coaching staff that stayed together relatively well.
Mhm.
When you think of Carlos Lachlan, he moves on. He goes to Ohio State kind of later in the cycle.
Yeah.
You lost a couple of strength and conditioning coaches, and they move on. Mississippi State, I believe, is where they went to. And they got better positions. They upgraded their lot in life by going somewhere else. They keep both their coordinators,
Which is important in today's day and age because those are the ones that get pilfered.
You did not get pilfered in the transfer portal.
No.
And I think that this is where a lot of the hype around the Oregon program has gone to. The uptick in recruiting over the last handful of years has afforded Oregon to keep stockpiling talent.
Yep.
You look especially at the edge rusher positions last year, where they rotated 3 freshmen in on the edges, and then they had Jordan Birch, who returns for another year in Eugene. There is confidence and stability there. But I think where Oregon is getting a big bump is, look no further than the transfer portal rankings from a year ago. Look at the college football top 25 preseason coaches poll, and you go down the list. They are all teams that either bring back a lot of guys in that top 5 or were wildly successful in the transfer portal in acquiring talent, in talent acquisition, whether it is Georgia, who returns a quarterback in Carson Beck, which not a lot of guys are returning
No.
at quarterback.
No. You take a look at this quarterback class. There's a reason why Shedeur Sanders keeps coming up as kind of one of the top quarterbacks in this class. It's one, he's talented. 2, it's kind of a barren landscape of quarterback in the cycle.
3 of the top 5 teams, Georgia, Texas, Alabama, they all bring back their quarterback from a year ago, with Carson Beck, Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers, right? The other 2, Ohio State and Oregon, went out and they got what was perceived as the 2 best available quarterbacks in the transfer portal in Will Howard and Dylan Gabriel. Most important position in football, they did a really good job of going there. But then you look at Oregon, they had the 2nd best transfer portal rankings of any team in college football last year.
And I'd say, as it pertains to Gabriel, it's not just the talent level that they brought in with Gabriel that made sense. Dylan Gabriel stylistically makes sense. It's at Oregon, I don't think you need to have the pro style quarterback. I think that with the coordinators they've had, whether it be Dillingham or Stein, they take these multifaceted quarterbacks who have. I think the thing they look for is processing and accuracy. I think those are the 2 things, if you put a gun to their head, that they would say that they prioritize more than anything.
I think experience, too, when you look at Dylan Gabriel, will be the guy who unseats Bo Nix as the most starts in college football history by the end of this year.
When we had him on for Big Ten Media Days, the thing I asked him was, the change and coming into a new system and being at UCF, being at Oklahoma, now being at Oregon, like how do you take and implement those things? I think what they've shown, again, whether it's Dillingham or Stein, taking things from Bo's past and kind of bringing that into what Oregon does best on both sides of the ball, playing complementary football. And this is where when you were out, it might have been at Duck Media Day, or I gave the Ducks the credit and the benefit of the doubt even though they're changing over at quarterback, even though they lose their top wide receiver, even though they've lost guys on both sides of the ball, they've shown that when over the last 3-4 years, that if they lose those guys, they not only replace those guys, they sometimes get better. And I think what you had in Oregon in the past was when a great player came and went, it was this chasm of a black hole that they just struggled to fill. Now that's not the case.
And I think they did that in a variety of positions, right? Like along those lines, right? You go out and you lose Troy Franklin to the draft, and you go and you replace him with Evan Stewart, former 5-star receiver,
probably a better talent
from a talent
Yeah.
perspective. Yeah, you lose Bo Nix. Not only do you get Dylan Gabriel, but then you also get Dante Moore, where you have depth and you're kind of backloading your roster. They revamp their secondary, and in the revamp of their secondary, they go out and they get Jabbar Muhammad from the University of Washington. You also went out and got Cam Alexander from UT San Antonio, Kobe Savage, which you got from the Kansas State University. On the defensive line, out goes guys like Casey Rogers and Brandon Dorless. In come Jamari Caldwell and Derek Harmon, guys who have experience playing at the highest level, and the drop off is not that bad, right? You're also backfilling a lot of positions, and that is where I think a lot of the hype around Oregon is that the era of the transfer portal, right? Washington's not even ranked in the top 25 this year because Kalen DeBoer left. Their entire offense left. Jedd Fisch came in, and Jedd Fisch is going to do a phenomenal job at Washington. But I believe it. He is a damn good head coach. He has assembled a very good staff, and he can recruit his butt off. But they had a drop-off with guys like Jabbar Muhammad entering the transfer portal, guys going to the NFL, head coach leaves. There's a lot that is in flux. Alabama had the exact same thing, right? Nick Saban leaves, and you're sitting there and you're going, Alabama, they're a blue blood. They could bring in Kalen DeBoer. They only dropped down to 5th, right?
It's nuts. I'm looking at UW's transfer class. 28.
Yeah.
28.
They had to. They had to bring experience in.
But they also, they brought in a ton of talent.
Yeah, but and I think this is going back to why people are so high on Oregon. It wasn't just that they brought in 14 guys. It was the level of talent that they brought in behind them. Because Washington, they bring in 28 guys from the portal. They have the 11th rated transfer portal rankings. And look, recruiting rankings, you can throw them out because you don't really know exactly how guys are going to develop and what staffs are manipulating. But the transfer portal, a lot of what these guys have and who they are. I think that's why you look at Ohio State as being really high up in this cycle as well, because they upgraded their quarterback room and they went in the portal and they backfilled their holes. They improved their staff leaps and bounds. The hard part about the transfer portal era is that from year to year, you can have teams that make these monumental jumps, and it has been a build under Lanning and Oregon to get to a point where they've backfilled their roster with high school recruits, and now the transfer portal to be depth-wise, you look at it and you go, you can see why the hype is there. Because where is the holes on Oregon's roster?
That's the thing is, I don't think that you're going to find one you're like, that's the thing. That's because I remember Duck fans downplaying Jabbar Muhammad coming into the last season is like, I don't know if he's really going to be that guy, he could be a good corner. And then by the end of that season, it was, he's really, really good. And that guy comes in and now he's your guy. And again, there's a change there. But if I was going to look at something, I would have gone, no, the Duck secondary is probably a spot that I would look at. And you look at who's actually back there now and you go, well, they got an absolute monster in the transfer portal and they continue to develop and put guys in a position to succeed.
I think the chemistry continuity in the back end of the defense is something that will be a work in progress as Oregon starts the year. But when you start the season with Idaho, Boise State, and Oregon State,
it allows that,
and then UCLA, that continuity and chemistry affords them the time to grow together. I think that is huge for Oregon coming out of the gate this year. I also think the same can be said with the offensive line, where you have Poncho coming in at center And you think of where Oregon has gone with that center position. I mean, you go from Alex Forsyth to JPJ, and now you have Poncho, who has never played the center position before. There is going to be an adjustment period through there, but we saw him play very effectively in the Fiesta Bowl against Liberty. Liberty is not going to be, the heart or the teeth of a Big Ten defense, but at the same time, the same thing we said about the back end of the defense, you can say up front on the offensive line, where you have experience, you have veterans that are in there, and you can work through some stuff with that learning curve of making your checks, making sure guys are in the right spot. The center position, there's a lot on his plate, but when you bring in an experienced quarterback behind him and you have experience on both sides of him of the offensive line, you can afford to grow through that in those first 4 weeks of the season. So for those that are saying, where's this hype coming from? Oregon hasn't really done anything. It's talent acquisition.
Yeah,
it's continuity with your coaching staff, and it's development and growth of the roster that people have seen over the last 2 years of Dan Lanning as the head coach.
Regardless of how you feel about Oregon, good, bad, or otherwise, there's one metric that it is been successful in evaluating college football teams. It's the total score when you talk about the accumulation of talent.
Yeah.
It is the overwhelming thing, whether you talk to Dave Bartu and College Football Matrix, like the most telling thing you can do is over a 5-year period, what does your talent look like?
Yep.
And what Oregon has been able to do is bring in more talent, weed out guys that aren't their fit or don't live up to their standards. Who's the best player that they lost in the transfer portal?
That they lost in the portal?
I was just looking through it. Is it Trequez?
Triquez Bridges, who started at corner for them in spots. You could look at him.
Dowdell?
No. No. They in the portal, they did not lose anybody.
They lost 20 guys, but of those 20 guys,
I would say, because at the time it was a concern when Ben Roberts left and went to Michigan State, because you were hoping that you would see him kind of fill those shoes on the defensive line. But no, I mean, Brian Addison is a guy who we thought he was like that guy that, hey, maybe this is going to be the week or the year that he pops. Yeah. And then all of a sudden there was that game out, I think it was at Washington,
right?
Where we saw him leave the game and never saw him again.
Yeah.
Never saw him again.
But my point being, there's not the defections. This isn't, because you can say, well, the talent accumulation, look at Texas A&M. Well, Texas A&M was springing leaks everywhere. And every cycle they'd bring some guys in, but they'd lose 3 5-stars. Right. It was they're bringing in, they're retaining it, they're growing it. I don't want to say it because it sounds dirty, but they've gotten rid of some fake 5-stars.
Yeah,
they've gone through the churn and they've kept real. And this is the thing that I have always been critical of the Ducks of, is that they didn't have that beef. They didn't have the interior on either side. Now they do.
Yeah. And
with that, look at the teams that are in the top right now. Whether it's Georgia, whether it's Ohio State, whether it's Michigan, whether it's Texas, guess what they all have? They're all strong in the interior. And
big boys up front matter, man.
And it's not one line. It's depth.
Yeah.
That is a thing that Oregon historically has just never had, and now they do, and they're getting rightfully the credit for doing it.
Yeah, and look, Mario Cristobal deserves a ton of credit for making Oregon a cool place to go if you're a lineman. Because, look, let's make no mistake about it, the Stormtrooper uniforms look really good on the skill position guys. But those all-whites, they do not.
No, they're not
They're
great.
not flattering on the big fellas.
No,
there.
You look like the Stay Puft Marshall Man with a freaking reflective decal.
But Mario Cristobal got those big fellas to come out on both sides of the football. And then Dan Lanning has taken that and continued to grow and build off it. And I think that when you look at the guys that he's brought in on their coaching staff, whether it's Alik Terry with NFL experience on the offensive line. They bring in an assistant, Mike Kavanaugh, with decades of experience as an offensive line coach and producing NFL talent on offensive lines at Oregon State, Syracuse, Nebraska, Hawaii, everywhere he's been. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you bring in Tuioti, who guys love and guys want to ride for and play for on the defensive line. And then, oh, by the way, high-end defensive players, they want to go and play for a defensive-minded head coach, And then the fact that you're able to keep Will
so
Stein.
You matter?
Yeah, so it matters. So it matters. But the Ducks are third in the coaches' preseason poll. And at Danny and Dusty on Twitter, we have the poll up. Are the Ducks deserving of the number 3 ranking in the preseason college football coaches poll? Yes or no? 59.5% of respondents so far say yes. 40.5% say no. Go and vote at Danny and Dusty on Twitter. All is right in the world. It feels good. Next on The Fan. Right in the world. All is right in the world. Noah Lyles getting it done.
Is all right in the world?
Yeah.
What
do you mean?
I mean, look,
everything is great now.
Look,
all the world's problems have been fixed.
USA, but also watching Usain Bolt laugh at people was fun.
Yeah, but you know what? It would have been a lot more fun if he was American sprinter, right?
You're not wrong, but watching him literally turn his head and laugh,
yeah,
was One of the more unhinged things I've ever seen in sports.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we're going to be seeing a 9.58 anytime soon in the 100 meters
My God.
or anytime again.
Ever.
But that 100-meter dash yesterday was one of the more electric scenes that we have seen in sports in a long time, because it wasn't just the fact that Noah Lyles stormed back, and the only time that he was in first place was like in the final stride and a half of the race. He was in last place at one point, and he worked his way back up to first place and winning at the lean at the finish line.
My man doesn't come out of the blocks well.
It was the closest finish in a 100-meter dash since the 1980 Olympics, when this was decided by 5/1000ths of a second.
Yeah, because both him and Thompson from Jamaica both finished with a 9.79.
9.79.784 was Noah Lyles. 9.79.789 was Thompson.
The difference in what, probably 2 inches?
We need to see if Thompson can catch a football, because that dude is yoked out of his gourd, and he is enormous. He is huge.
Yeah, slightly bigger than Noah Lyles.
But if you think about this, though, the guy who took bronze, Fred Curley, also American, he was only 2/100ths of a second behind Lyles. The entire race, it wasn't just first and second. The entire race was decided by 0.2 of a second, less than, no, it'd be 0.12, 0.1200ths of a second, right?
Yeah.
0.12 was the difference between first place and Noah Lyles in last place, which was Oblique Seville, who Noah Lyles infamously said, I'll remember this, in Paris, when Lyles was peeking over at him at a Golden Spikes event like 2 months ago. The entirety of the race was electric. When you have a wave of 8 guys, there's no person that got skunked in that race.
No.
And the change of it, in the fact that it came down to the wire, that was awesome. And the closing phase by Noah Lyles he was accelerating through the finish line.
Well, that's why he does the 200.
Woof.
That's the thing, is he's a guy, Will and I were talking before the show. He's one of the rare guys that has 5th gear.
Yep.
Where a lot of these guys, it's their technique out of the block, and yes, they're fast, but it's their ability to transition out of the block into bang, 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 bang through all their gears, but they only have 4th.
Yeah. Noah
Lyles has 5th, and that's where you see him in the 200, where all of a sudden you just, and he's gone. And you saw him hit that gear and, like you said, accelerate through the finish line, and I think that was literally the difference in this race.
Lee Diffie did not have a good day, though.
Oh, no, it happened.
There's an Olympic gold medal waiting for somebody who wants it the most. Now Thompson starts to wind up. Curley's going with him. This is close. Jamaica's going to do it. Keshane Thompson is a gold medalist on debut. We thought it was going to take 9.7 to win. Guess what? He just ran 9.78. But it was a lean at the tape by Thompson. Visually, we think he got it. They're working on the photo. Fred Curley pushed him all the way. Noah Lyles is looking anxiously.
Oh. Did you see NBC? I didn't watch the replay, but
they edited it.
They edited it out.
Yep.
They did it.
You
can't.
They had somebody else over the top correct the call.
That's brutal.
On the replay in primetime.
That's brutal, because I don't know why, and he's a great track and field announcer. I don't know why in the world that in a race that tight, they're gonna go to the photo finish. Yeah. And everybody knows, like, it looked like Thompson won
because of the lean.
When you have somebody closing that way, and this is the thing about it as well, it's not your foot, it's not your head, it's not your arm, it's your torso. And you've got to, it's the first torso. Lyles accelerating through the finish line, he had forward lean. Everybody else was in their B phase where they're just trying to maintain speed going through. Lyles was leaning forward, moving, and it wasn't just his lean at the finish line. He was accelerating, man. It was bonkers. Terrible call, but great finish to that race. You know that when Carl Lewis won the 100 in 1988, he would have finished dead last in that 100 meters yesterday.
Which is kind of crazy because we've been so accustomed to Usain Bolt for, 16 years
Yeah.
that this was slow. This was slow. This was a slow 100-meter.
I mean, compared to Usain Bolt, yeah, it was.
But that's what I mean. Like he has distorted what it means to be otherworldly fast.
All 8 going under 10 is wild.
Yeah.
Like the speed around the world is it's
I mean, you heard
insane.
him 9.7. You need to break. You need to get under 9.8 to win.
To win. You needed to get under 9.8 to medal.
Yeah.
Like that's even crazier is that 9.81 got the bronze medal.
From dead
Crazy.
stop to the finish line faster than 10 meters a second. From dead stop.
Way to go, America. Way to go, America. Noah Lyles. He does it again. Let's take a whip around the college or the NFL training camps as we're getting a little bit of buzz coming out of some places where some battles that we weren't expecting to be won maybe coming down to the wire. That's how we start hour number 2. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Now, are you curious?
in the Rose City. Thank you for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours, whether it's on 1080 AM, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app, youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan, or twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan. Welcome. Welcome aboard.
Indeed.
Welcome aboard. We got some NFL training camp news and notes that we need to saunter through and banty about. Because coming out of Pittsburgh, have you seen the push for Justin Fields?
I mean, we saw this in Chicago too, though.
Here is the
It's just
headline.
Great marketing.
Justin Fields lights up another Steelers practice.
Mm-hmm.
The Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback is putting on a show in recent days.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, Justin Fields is thriving under Arthur Smith's archaic offense in Pittsburgh. And there's some that just say, what are they waiting for? Why don't they just name him the starter? Russell Wilson has been dealing with nagging injuries throughout training camp. And by all accounts, it isn't that Justin Fields is going through the motions and doing okay. He's dotting dudes up, making very hard throws, threading the needle on some throws, and he is also making quick reads and not holding on to the ball very long. I don't know. The offensive line in Chicago was really bad. It was a turbulent time offensively with Chicago when he was there. I think this may say more about where the Steelers are than where Justin Fields is at.
I don't know. I feel like this is probably a little bit of Steeler propaganda.
You think so?
Look, man, I know you want to buy into Justin Fields as much as I want to sell every last ounce of stock in him, but I'm going to need to see an entire year of productive football before I don't care if he has 8 great weeks in a row. I've seen that dude absolutely disappear and be horrendous to where I was like, Tyson Bagent, why not?
I don't think people wanted that.
No, but the fact that it even crossed your mind was like, man, I don't know. Like, I can't look. If he's one of those redemption arcs, awesome, great.
Yeah.
Geno Smith, cool. I'm all about it. But I am not going to buy it, believe it, and put any stock in it whatsoever until there's an entire year of it.
Yeah, an entire year of Justin Fields being productive.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, good luck with that.
And that's kind of my point. It's like now,
and that's
could he
why
be
I
in a better
say-
position? Absolutely, because that Bears team was just ugh.
Yeah, they were really bad. I think your offensive line is going to be better in Pittsburgh. You have a running game that you can lean on and rely on, an identity of what the team does. But I just don't see how Fields is making these monumental leaps in his development as a quarterback with Arthur Smith, who, it should be said, Arthur Smith as a coordinator was a very good coordinator. The Tennessee Titans had a top 3 offense in the NFL.
It was vanilla and basic, but they stuck to what they did well.
They ran the ball,
Ran play action out of it, and they took their deep shots when they could.
and they made it easy on the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean,
Got Tannehill paid.
got Tannehill paid. Didn't he win a playoff game with Mariota at quarterback?
I think you're right. Which
I mean,
Marcus, the college quarterback versus the NFL quarterback, 2 very different guys.
but I think he caught his own deflection for a touchdown in that playoff game too.
Oh God, was that game?
But at the same time, I don't buy that Justin Fields is making these monumental leaps.
And that's
But I think it says a lot about where Russell Wilson is at,
Yeah.
injury-wise, lingering injuries, getting older. This may be more of a fan base and people that cover this team are feeling like we don't have any great options, so we'd rather go with the younger guy.
which is what we heard with Fields in Chicago too. It was like, hey, just unchain him, let him actually run the ball, or have a run. That's what you heard out of Pittsburgh now is that, well, you've already got a pretty good offensive line, you've got a pretty good running game. Like, make Justin Fields a part of the running game.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. Don't be afraid to run him, because part of this is he's got 1 year left on his deal, and if you do, this is gonna sound terrible, if you do RG3 him, who cares?
You get him hurt?
But I mean, you put him out there and he just gets beat up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
then you just kind of go, yeah, well, Like, unless it's
Yeah.
so dynamic, and this is a note from Brooke Pryor from ESPN as it pertains to the battle between the two. Wilson is still likely in the lead for the job, but if Fields can make routine and splash plays consistently, this might be more of a competition. But even then, they're still leaning towards Russell Wilson.
Well, there's the camp tour that Dan Graziano and God, I can't remember who else is doing it. For ESPN though, and Graziano he went to the Pittsburgh training camp. He said week 1 starter prediction. It's a lot more of a coin flip than most think, and I believe that part of the reason is that Steelers have set Wilson up as the leader in the competition because they believe that's the best way to manage him. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Fields will show enough through camp to catch him and claim the week 1 starting spot. I know most people disagree, and I'm fully prepared to be wrong, but the vibes didn't start off great for Wilson, and I just think the Steelers are going to be too tempted by Fields' upside once they see them both out there on the field. The question then would become whether Wilson is on the team at all.
I mean, look, Russell Wilson and crappy vibes are synonymous.
Especially when
that's-
things don't go as well.
Yeah, and and if you're the
I would
Steelers,
love this.
and if you are the Steelers and you do go with Fields, I would send Russell Wilson into the sun.
Yeah,
You do not want him around.
No, you don't.
If you're starting him, great, fine. That's the path you want to go down, whatever. But him as the backup after like him taking this whole redemption tour thing, which again, that feels as fake as Justin Fields making these monumental leaps.
We also have another quarterback battle that we knew was going to be very quick, but Dan Quinn raving about Jaden Daniels at Washington Commanders camp.
Weirdly enough, I believe this one.
There is one that is being said a lot as you go through, whether it's college or the NFL. These coaches are now coming through and creating their buzzwords. One of them, which we'll have a little bit later, and I heard it over and over and over again at Oregon's Media Day. You hear it at Big Ten Media Days. We heard a ton of it from all the coaches. And now you're hearing it in the NFL is connectivity.
Oh, God, yes.
Connectivity.
Yeah.
Being connected as a team. That's a big thing. From a quarterback standpoint, processing. Processing is that new buzzword where it is get the ball out quick, whether it's Bo Nix and why he's thriving in Broncos camp like we talked about last week, and it looks like it's inching closer and closer to him being the starter, whether it was where Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy at in their battle. Darnold's processing a little bit quicker. Jaden Daniels apparently is blowing Dan Quinn away with his ability to process and get the ball out quickly, because processing is if they do this, then we do this, and then getting to that as quickly as you can. Quinn said it's the decision making that I've been really impressed by, where to go, not just the throwing, but playing the position. This coverage goes to here. This looks like we go here. I got a matchup I want. I go here. So there's your skill work, and then there's the processing work, and the processing part for him has been excellent. That's your new. We got our guy. We think he processes really well.
As a talent, I don't think anybody's going to question Jaden Daniels' bona fides, right? I mean, his ability to throw the ball, to keep plays alive, to be an athlete, to even be accurate.
Yeah, his question honestly is maturity
and responsibility.
Yeah,
that was always the knock, and guys grow up.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield grew up, guys. Now, it probably took him 2 or 3 years longer than he probably should have, and he would have been in probably even better space. But these guys have the potential to grow up. And if that is the case with Jaden Daniels and the talent comes to fruition, like that's not surprising.
No.
Right? I mean, you don't look at him and go, yeah, I don't know. I don't really see the talent. It's like, no, you saw that. It was, do you trust the talent?
Mm-hmm. And look, why processing is so important, and we've talked about this a lot, it's the 7-on-7ification of football.
Yeah.
It is. These quarterbacks have so much more exposure to coverages, and to be quite honest, with what some defenses are doing at the high levels of high school football, they're seeing so many more things that you never used to see
Until you get to deep into college.
in college football until college football which is like you'll see cloud coverages where you're going to have cover 2 on one side, cover 3 on the other. You'll have rotating safeties a lot more in college or high school football now, and guys didn't see that until they got to college. Well, you're seeing that now in 8th grade 7-on-7. These quarterbacks are becoming more accustomed to seeing what defenses are doing and how they're rotating, which means that high school quarterbacks are going to be more ready for college, and college quarterbacks are going to be more ready for the NFL, because when you go from college to the NFL, there's also this trickle up effect of offense where we have now the permeation of RPOs into the NFL game over the last 5 or 6 years. And so these guys are coming in with schemes that are they're malleable schemes to what you did in college to what you do to the NFL, and a lot more is translating, because college and the NFL used to be 2 completely different sports when it came to offensive football. They're melding together a lot better now. It is completely different because of the skill of college to NFL guys, and you can do a little bit more, but we're seeing a lot more of the same schemes going from one level of football to the next.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, is that, you get a kid, like you said, in a 7-on-7 camp when, they're getting a cover 9 as a high school sophomore, like, you're getting man on one side, zone back on the other, and having to process and understand that, how things change and how different things can look, so that the processing power becomes synonymous. And it's one of those things where I begrudge the 7-on-7 world, because it's become this like year-round thing outside of the actual football, where it's like, okay, maybe we need to back off out of this. But at the same time, is that a way for particularly quarterbacks and wide receivers and defensive backs to enhance the mental side of the game?
What was supposed to be a nothing burger, maybe something now. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
A home for the Beavs and Cougs.
Turns out the NCAA sees that a little bit differently. A draft of the notice of allegations, which we talked about last week briefly. We talked about this notice of allegations and what it means for Michigan. The NCAA is finished their investigation. They're ready to prepare Michigan with, this is what we're going to hit you with. And it all comes in a letter form. And then you go in front of the infractions committee. And this is going to take 5 or 6 more months before we actually have any resolution to it, because lawyers were going to lawyer on this. But the draft of the notice of allegations obtained by Dan Murphy and Pete Thamel of ESPN, they reveal that it was quite more serious than what Michigan led on. And Michigan was not fully cooperative, as they had said several times, with the NCAA. According to the notice of allegations, and this is only part of the notice of allegations that they were able to get their hands on, you have got several members of the Michigan staff had knowledge of what was going on. They say Jim Harbaugh, because he was so uncooperative, they don't know exactly what he knew, but he
Might end up just right.
He had a failure to monitor the whole situation going on here. They mentioned Chris Partridge, who is now a coach for the Seattle Seahawks, Denard Robinson, who got a Dewey, and he had to resign his post this spring.
Oops.
He had knowledge of what was going on, and Connor Stallions. All of those guys, all 4 of those men, are facing level 1 violations, which are the highest that anybody can have in the NCAA, and that means that they could get hit with the show cause, which means multiple years where they cannot coach if they do try to go and coach college sports again. But I think when you look at, I don't know, everybody bolt into the NFL the way they did,
They knew.
probably knew that this was not good in coming down the pipeline for
We'll call
them.
that the old Chip Kelly.
Well, or Pete Carroll.
Or Pete.
You can do both of them. You can do both
Did
of
he
them.
get hit with the show cause?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he
I don't
did.
remember him getting hit with the show cause. Is
Yeah, I think he got like a 7-year show cause.
that what it was?
Pete got hit with the big one. But you have Sharon Moore is now in the crosshairs of this. The man who was very vocal that they did nothing wrong. He was the man who stood in for Jim Harbaugh.
Cried even.
Won several games. Yeah, after the Penn State game, cried. He's now the head coach of the Wolverines, and he could be facing a show cause penalty and suspension of his own.
Head liar in chief.
Apparently, he deleted a thread of 52 text messages with Connor Stallions in October.
So perfect. Not 1, not 2, not 3, 52.
52. 50 in October of 2023. Remember, when all of this came to be like the big wave was early November when
Yeah.
Connor Stallions resigned his post. 52 text messages between Sharon Moore and Stallions were deleted.
And he did it on the freaking university phone.
Yep. And so,
Get a freaking burner, you dumbasses.
but what
I don't understand it.
what they're saying is that they went and they used device imaging to recover the text messages that were deleted.
Because all they need to do is because it's a university phone, it's subject to FOIA,
Yep.
and they can just go grab it, they can clone it, and they can go, when we look at this, it shows that X amount of messages were sent, but yours only shows Y amount of messages. Why doesn't that add up? Well, then they just start going through line by line by line and finding what's missing, and guess what? You're screwed.
Stallions is kind of smart on Stallions' part on this. They found out that this happened for 13 opponents in over 58 games that the whole spying thing was going on. He convinced the interns of the program, no, what we're doing is on the up and up, guys. Like, this is fine, including obtaining a play call sheet from an opponent, giving it to a player, and then the player was supposed to take it to an intern's house to where Stallions would go and retrieve it from the intern later.
Totally normal.
Yeah, I mean, this is nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Look, they're not going to vacate any wins. I like that. They don't vacate a national title. the NCAA, according to the reporting of Thamel and Murphy, is that that's not what the NCAA is going to do. It's one of the dumbest things that the NCAA does. We all know Louisville won the national title.
Yeah.
I know that USC won the national title. I watched those games.
Yes, it happened.
I watched them do it. Vacating wins is stupid, and they shouldn't do that.
Just fine them.
And that's what Michigan is asking for. But what the new news here is that Sherrone Moore may be in a little bit of hot water that Jim Harbaugh found himself in just last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he may get a suspension, and Michigan is saying, we just want a monetary fine on all of this. I don't believe Michigan is the only program that was doing this.
They just had a better system.
I mean, it happens far more often than you think. And I think that a lot of us have this like Pollyanna view of what's going on in our world of sports. No.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
It happens all the time. And like the things that there's an article Athlon Sports put out about the culture of Colorado football right now.
Mm-hmm.
And how I think where Deion is losing his locker room is that he and his staff are protecting their kids that are on the roster.
Way.
And that's where it's crossing a line and players are like, screw this. But the whole point of the Athlon article is that they are fighting during practice.
Mm-hmm.
They're fighting in the locker rooms.
It's Washington Wizards-esque. A lot of gambling, a lot of guns, a lot of problems.
There's gambling happening. There's guys with guns. If you don't think that there are fights on the practice field, like coaches close practice, when we talked about this, they're going to start charging to go to practice.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why coaches want to close practice to people is so you don't see that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it gets to a point where fights happen during
every practice. Good Lord.
I wouldn't say every practice, but it happens a lot.
No, I mean in training camp.
Every single program will have
Yeah.
a couple of fights every year.
Yeah.
Where emotions boil over. Every so often you'll have fights in the locker room too.
Full on drag out, guys get cut, guys get black eyes. They tripped and fell.
Yeah, these things happen.
Yeah.
Like
it's a violent combat sport with a bunch of dudes in their 20s who want to tear each other's heads off because there's a limited amount of pie.
Lot of high tea going on. The point of like the Deion article though is that what's happening is they are like Shiloh Sanders slapped Cromani McClain after the Oregon State game last year. And McClain said, I'm going to kill you. and wanted to fight him. But what happened the very next media availability for Deion Sanders? He said Cromani McClain is in the doghouse. That wasn't because he didn't play effectively against Oregon State. It was because he got into an argument with Deion's kid. And there were several instances where, whether it is Keith Mitchell, who's a defensive backs coach, and his kid getting into it over a $10,000 gambling debt that he had to a backup quarterback. And the backup quarterback was like, I couldn't say or do anything about it. They got into a fist fight in the locker room over 10 G's. That's a lot of money for college kids to be gambling.
Yeah, I remember when $10 was a lot.
But
NIL's a little different.
I've seen fights over far less money.
Yes, right?
$5.
I've seen fights over $100. You know?
Those Taco Bell dinners used to be a lot cheaper.
Times have changed apparently, but the whole thing is that every player on that team felt that there was going to be retribution from the staff because they had kids that were on the roster. And that is a big problem at Colorado, and that's why guys are leaving left and right. But I think a lot of people don't really want to know how the sausage is made, right?
No.
Like the whole thing about the Houston Astros cheating scandal, they took it a step further than everybody else. But the reason why Major League Baseball intervened in the first place is because they all were warned because they knew so many teams were cheating.
Yeah, remember, what was it, though?
Red
Sox with the Apple Watch?
Red Sox, Yankees, both. Yeah. One got caught and the other one said, no, they're doing it too. And they're like,
where do you think we learned it from?
Yeah. There's a podcast that said that one of the guys who really ramped up the Astros thing came from the Mariners and was insisting that the Mariners. Yeah. Apparently, it didn't matter. Apparently, it didn't matter.
Look, if you
but
don't-
they
Your
all
own
just
issues.
got together and they said, "Okay,
Let's
what did
exchange
you
ideas."
what did you learn in Seattle? What did you learn in Boston? What did you learn in New York? All right, let's kick this up a notch in Houston." And they went way beyond.
Look, the reason you got the they doth protest too much
Yeah.
when it came to other Big Ten schools, because they had their own programs going too, and they're like, whoa, we could be this egregious with it. That's the reality of it. Everyone
Yeah.
was doing it.
Yeah, I think that the big thing here though is Michigan. They went the way of the Astros. They crossed way too many lines. They went way too far with
They
it.
went all the way to Plaid.
Stallions being on the sideline
Central?
in Central Michigan gear as they played Michigan State.
That
yeah,
is-
you
that is-
can't do that.
That is the most unhinged thing in
with
all
your
of this.
with your Ray-Bans that can record and you're sitting there recording their sideline.
enhance
Nope.
enhance.
No. People aren't going that far.
I mean, somebody was.
Well, Michigan was.
Speaking of going too far, how far would you go to celebrate your Olympic gold medal? That and more. But first, here's Big Will Bets of the Sports Center Update.
All the way.
a fan.
Well, that sucks.
You know, we opened the show and mentioned that I might have to say, "Do you know who I am?" to get my cable turned or my internet turned back on.
Yeah.
How far would you go though if "Do you know who I am" entailed winning an Olympic gold medal?
It doesn't matter. I'll do it. I would never pull the "Do you know who I am?" But I'd flash that son of a gun everywhere.
But what if your name is Justin Best and you're a junior analyst at Union Square Advisors and your LinkedIn also has a Dash Olympic champion?
Badass. That's pretty good.
This is not a worse day on the web in the sense of this is a bad thing for him.
Yeah.
But I do.
What did he win his medal in?
I can't remember.
Fencing.
Excel.
Have we heard it is crazy. Some of these athletes that are
That go back to
Olympians.
regular world.
Well, no, like I was looking at
rowing.
Rowing.
Yeah.
You said junior analyst, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's probably went to Stanford.
Drexel.
Drexel.
Yeah.
There we go. I was seeing that like Kristen Falker, who she gave up her career in venture capital to start cycling.
Is this a cyclist?
Yeah.
And she turned out to be a world-class cyclist.
She didn't cycle until she was out of college and was like, you know what? I think I'm pretty good at this. Like,
Well,
I ride my bike fast.
She had to ride her bike to work because she moved to New York City and for a junior analyst kind of a deal. And New York City, you can't drive. So she ended up like riding her bike, and it turned out she was really good at it.
And then she wasn't even supposed to race in the Olympics, and somebody got hurt, and she won a gold medal.
Yeah.
Like, what?
The first Olympic road medal for the U.S. in like 40 years.
I think I was looking at also Lee Kiefer, who's I think that's her name, Lee Kiefer maybe. She's an American fencer.
The fencer. Okay,
and
yeah.
she's got like 3 gold medals.
And she looks like she's 12.
Yes. She's 30.
Yeah, no, she looks like a little kid. That's insane.
Her bio is she put medical school on pause to pursue her Olympic career. Like when you're just sitting there and you're like, they're better at life than
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of are.
Yeah, and it's just
Because-
like, wait, what?
Her mom and dad and 2 siblings are all doctors. And they're probably looking at her like, yeah, cool fencing gold medals, you know?
How about you save somebody's life?
Yeah, go change the world a little bit, Lee. What are you doing? But she's going to go back to medical school and probably like cure cancer.
Also, we don't pay people enough for winning gold medals.
I've seen the United States doesn't.
No.
But I mean, because we win a lot of them. But I was seeing that like some countries, it's like close to $1 million. In the United States, I think it's $140,000 or something like that. There's a graphic popping around on social media. But I'd do the same thing.
No,
I'd put that
Team
on my
USA
LinkedIn.
is 37,500.
For a gold medal?
Oh no,
What is-
50,000.
What is that in
50,000.
inflation?
For a gold?
Yeah. So this is straight from the NBC Olympics page. Yeah, 50,000.
That's it?
Yeah.
I thought it was over 100. Wow.
Yeah. It's
Ye-
tough out here.
Yeah, we need to change that. But then again, we win a lot of gold medals here. These Olympics, I'm having to I'm dancing a line here with my son. My son now hates China.
Mm.
That rocks.
He hates China. And like he's like
Sounds like
we're
you're doing a
watching the
good
games
job.
and he's like I hate those guys. And I was like, why? Like what's going on? Like, why do you hate China so much, bud? And he's like, well, they just won a gold medal. They can't win more gold medals in the United States. He's got so much America running
Look
through
at you
him.
raising a proud little xenophobe. I like it.
God. But it's like, bud, like it's a slippery slope here because he really wants America to win this gold medal count. It's the first thing he asks the damn Alexa in the morning is how many gold medals, what's the medal count? And I'm like, well, I mean, we're kicking their butt in every other medal. And he's like, it's not first place. And I'm like, God, am I raising Ricky Bobby?
I don't know,
Like,
man.
what am I doing? If you're not first, you're last. I was like, dude, we have like 75 medals. They got 45. He's like,
Sounds-
yeah, but they got 21 gold and we only have 19.
Yeah, it sounds like you're raising a big fan of Taiwan.
Golly, Jeez, it's amazing how quickly he just turns on to being a little xenophobe. And I'm just like, when he said, I hate those guys, I was like, oh boy, like, what are we doing here? Like, what? I was like, is my kid racist? No, just turns out loves America so much,
Yeah.
wants him to win all the
Hates
golds.
everyone.
Yeah.
Equally.
Yes, but he's got it out for China because the French, they're like way back there. You know,
Where do
it's
you
a
stand on
gold
the medal
count.
count? Whether this has been this whole thing where Australia keeps touting like because they won some, they were ahead in golds. They're like, no, the medal count starts and is sorted by who wins the most golds because they won early golds.
Yeah, I just think
It's points.
our superiority is with we're top 3 in everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
at
I mean,
the
like,
end of the day, if we're not number 1 in golds, I think we have some work to do
But
as we head to
look,
the
I
LA games
agree,
in 2028.
But also, isn't it also like I'm a points guy?
yeah,
5, 3, 1. 5 for gold, 3 for silver, 1 for
Yeah.
bronze.
yeah, we're gonna lap the entire world
Well,
with that.
we talked about this coming into the Olympics. The U.S. is over the course of Olympic history. They have something like 20 of just short of 3,000 golds. The next closest had less than 1,500. Like it's no one is even remotely close.
Not even close.
And I believe that was the USSR.
I think what we're going with though is track and field better come through, or it's going to be real bad international relations with my son in China.
I mean,
track and field, we need to pop.
I mean,
like we really need to
well,
win some more goals.
You don't see a lot of Chinese gold medals in track and field.
No, but I mean, who knows? Gymnastics is over. Swimming is over. They're powerhouses at that.
Yep.
Rhythmic gymnastics.
Diving. Did you see that
gymnastics.
women's diving team that looked like they were copied?
It's pretty crazy.
Holy crap!
It's pretty crazy.
I didn't realize it was a tandem until they hit the water.
Till the very end.
Yeah, it was like
that's nuts.
oh my! I've never seen somebody synced up like that on a dive.
But we got Cook and Bacon.
We
which
do.
Pretty awesome.
Did you know that there's 2 Bacons?
Kevin?
No.
3.
There's 2 Bacons in the Olympics. That 2 women. One's a swimmer. One's a diver.
But are they related?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know how common the last name Bacon is.
And how many degrees of separation do they have from Kevin?
Not a lot, dude.
I
It's
mean,
definitely not 7.
Yeah, no. I
It's
mean,
you can
their name is
connect
literally
that
Bacon.
way closer than 7.
If you want a gold medal, you putting that in your bio on everything you have?
Yeah.
Olympic champion?
Uh-huh.
Or are you putting gold medalist?
Hell, I might do it right now on my Twitter bio.
It's in the profile picture, dude.
And I mean, like, what are you putting? You putting gold medalist, world champion, Olympic champion? What are we going with?
Gold medalist.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like world
Gold
champion.
medalist. Gold medalist.
World champion's pretty good.
That is, but you can't do that in track and field or athletics as they call it because they have the world championships. So yeah.
Olympic champion?
Olympic champion. Yeah. I'm just going gold medalist.
Olympian.
Yeah.
No, you don't. That sells it short.
Well,
Because
it's
there's
like
plenty of Olympians. Look, man, I was watching. God, what was I watching the other day? It was some event where there was like 10 competitors in a final, and as I watched it, I was like, okay, the top 3 here are insane.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was one of the distance events on track and field. The top 3 runners were insane.
Yeah.
The rest of the pack was like, this is how disgusting I was. What are you even doing there?
Yeah. Why are you here?
Like they were so far behind. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're nowhere near their level. What are you doing here? And it's like, it sounds so twisted and stupid and awful for me to say from my couch.
Yeah.
But it was also like, there's a galaxy between you and those guys.
Yeah, but then if you want to play that game, like Katie Ledecky should have been the only person in the 1500
Well, yes.
swimming.
She also, that's
It's like,
also true.
thanks for showing up, guys.
It was very funny to see the comparison between her winning her 9th gold medal and the other American woman who won her 1st medal as a bronze. Ledecky went up on the swim deck just gangster as hell. Little nod, threw up a 9,
Yeah.
like no biggie. Meanwhile, the woman who just won her bronze was her 1st medal, was just bawling, just sobbing out of her mind. It was like, oh, that's right. There's a difference between these 2.
Yeah, and that was last night in the uneven bars. We were watching Suni Lee took a bronze medal in the uneven bars, and again, I'm raising a mix between Ricky Bobby and Kenny Powers, apparently. My son goes, what's she so excited for? She took third. And I was like, dude, she got a bronze medal. She's the third best in the world.
And
He's
she
like,
had a massive mental breakdown and wasn't even sure she could make it to
he's
the
like,
Olympics.
yeah, all right. I was like, dude, I'd be super proud of you if you were the third best in the world at anything.
Mm.
And then my wife's like, you'd be proud of him if he was last at anything. I'm like, no, let's not go that far.
Also, didn't Suni win bronze in the all-around as well?
I don't know.
She
I
did.
have no idea.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, it's really good to win a medal in the Olympics.
And you saw what her and what Suni and Simone did for the Brazilian medalist, right?
That was Jordan Childs.
Was it Jordan? Okay.
Yeah.
What they did to her. Was it Andrade?
Prairie's own Jordan
Yeah.
Childs.
Oh,
Local girl.
Prairie High School.
Which is interesting because Oregon
Maynards.
technically claims her.
Well, they should not because there's a river that separates us, and on our side, we don't pay income
Was she
tax.
born here? I wonder.
I don't even think she was born in Washington. She just grew up in
Mm.
Washington,
Yeah.
went to Nadenov's, and then once she was like 17 or 18, became an elite gymnast. They sent her to the elite gymnast school in Texas. I read the Wikipedia page.
There you go. It's
Look at you, bud.
Mildly
I read.
stalkerish.
I pay attention to things I care about.
I read Wikipedia
Hold on.
pages.
You just said I'm well read.
I am, yeah.
I
I have a book
I read
coming
like
on Amazon.
4 wiki links a day.
My apartment room smells of rich mahogany and
I
whiskey.
think that's the last thing.
There you go.
Like maybe like puke, whiskey
I
vomit.
have not puked in my room, and I have 2 Febreze Glade air fresheners. So
Look at
eat
you.
that, nerd.
Look
living
at
high
you.
life.
I bet you need them because your shoes probably stink.
Old
No
Stankfoot.
comment.
Old Stankfoot over here. All right, going from Olympic greatness, the best of the best, to the worst the sporting world has to offer. Danny and Dusty, today the Fan.
Oregon.
If you go back to 2020 and you look at who was on their roster, they were a team that was primed to have a breakout. They have 10 guys who have left that team and been successful basically everywhere because they don't pay anybody. And I think that Jerry Reinsdorf uses the White Sox as a tax write-off at this point in time.
It's got to be so tough to be a fan of the Chicago White Sox.
He must love John J. Fisher because he is carrying the torch for just ineptitude.
Boy, you're not kidding.
While the White Sox are drafting the A's in horrible, horrible play.
The thing that is crazy to me, and this is why it's so dejecting to be a White Sox fan right now, is that every team that is as bad as they are has a specific direction that they are going in.
Mm-hmm.
At least what the A's are doing is saying, we're trying to moneyball. Like, we know we're strapped for cash and
we
we're
know
broke boys.
Our owner sucks and he doesn't have any money and this is the way we have to do things. Whatever.
And we every now and then they're competitive. The A's, who they play today, have twice as many wins as the White Sox do, and there is no direction with the White Sox. We have seen teams intentionally tank, whether it was their crosstown rival, the Cubs on the north side, when Theo took over, and they drove that thing right into the side of the mountain, and then they built it back up. The Astros, the Red Sox, hell, to an extent, the Dodgers did it for a couple of years where they said, we're not going to be competitive, and then we're just going to go, whoop, pay everybody and build up our minor league system. They don't have a direction. They don't. Like, they just exist to suck. And that is got to be wildly frustrating. And everybody wants out. Nobody wants to be there. It's awful if you're a White Sox fan because the direction is nowhere. You're heading just straight down into hell.
Here's what they're presented with tonight. They have lost 20 straight games.
Yeah.
They can equal the 88 Orioles for the worst streak in AL history.
That is 36 years ago.
They are 3 away from the modern era record held by the 63 Phillies. 6 off of the Major League Baseball record of the 1889 Louisville Colonels.
Yeah. It's brutal to think about how bad they are. So,
and they play the A's.
Well, they actually have a shot against the A's because the A's are 46-67, and it's like, oh, they must clean up against bad teams. No, most of their wins 25 of their wins are against teams over 500. They're not good against the bad teams. They're not good against bad teams. They're only 21-16 against teams under 500. Here's how bad the White Sox are, though. If you take out the 20-game losing streak that they currently have going, and the 14-game losing streak they had earlier in the year.
That's 34 losses.
Okay. Their winning percentage would still be the worst in Major League Baseball.
Because they have a .237 winning percentage because they're 27-87. Here's what's truly disgusting.
Think about that. You take out the 2 longest streaks in baseball this season, and they still would have the worst win percentage in baseball. They are absolutely dreadful.
Doing quick math here. 247.
And I love what Ozzie Guillen said at the trade deadline. He's like, all these guys want to get traded? Why? You suck.
They are losing.
He's like, nobody wants you.
They are losing every single game. Every single game.
Yeah.
Over the course of this season so far. By 2.17 runs per game. I'm not talking about the games they've won. Their run differential is so poor that they are negative 2.17 runs per game.
And that accounts for games they actually win. Good Lord.
That's insane.
They're getting just pumped.
They are 67 runs worse than the next worst run differential, which is the Colorado Rockies, who are also really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, they are really bad. Well, maybe it ends against the A's. Maybe it ends against the A's.
For reference,
I'm wearing my A's shirt today. Actually, not an A's shirt. I'm wearing my
shirt.
last dive bar shirt.
There you go.
Who's trying to stick it to John J. Fisher. So I bought a
the,
shirt.
The A's
Support the cause.
have 19 more wins. They have a minus 73 run differential.
Yeah. Well,
I believe if you changed the 20-game losing streak that Chicago has right now and the 14-game losing streak they had before, made those wins, they're still behind every team in the Central but the Tigers.
30. So
34 more wins.
34. That would only put them up to 61 wins. They'd be third.
That was the stat from Sunday that I saw.
Yeah. Yeah, that put them. That'd be 61, and they'd be third. They'd be behind the Guardians and Twins in that division. No, wait, holy smokes, the Royals too. They'd be fourth.
Yeah, that's
They'd
what
be
I
fourth.
said.
Yeah,
They'd
fourth.
only be ahead of Detroit.
Wow,
Detroit. See, I'm well read.
they're so bad. Did you find that on Wikipedia?
ESPN.com.
Oh, sick.
Babe.
Wow.
So there you go. Whenever you think your team's doing bad, just unless you're a White Sox fan, it's not doing that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, they were the hot team when we were like early 90s when we were growing up.
Yeah.
though. I mean,
Albert Bell, Frank Thomas,
Yeah, Frank Thomas was
the big
it.
hurt, baby.
It was
The Nugenics guy?
Yeah, the Nugenics guy. Two-sport star at Auburn, who just got a statue. Have you
Paul-
seen the Frank Thomas statue at Auburn?
Yes.
It's sick.
It's got
Was
Nugenics in it?
Yeah, it does.
Konerko on those teams?
I don't know.
Paul Konerko on those teams?
They were fun to watch. They had the Old English socks, which was what everybody wanted. They had a badass look about them. Now they're just bad in every sense of the word. And they're on the south side of Chicago, which probably isn't helping their cause.
Yeah, they had.
They got good snacks, though. They have like a s'mores milkshake that looks really good.
It's like the best kitchen in all of Major League Baseball, I hear.
Are you going to go and do a food review at their games, too?
If you would like to pay for my ticket to Chicago, yes, I will.
I would do it if I
2000
had
Chicago
the
White
disposable
Sox.
income to send you to Chicago for no good reason.
95 and
I'd make a video.
67. Won the division.
Okay.
Paul Konerko, Ray Durham, Jose Valentin, Herb Perry, Carlos Lee, Chris Singleton, Maglio Ordonez with Frank Thomas DHing.
That's pretty good.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Dude, I could get you. Oh, look at that. This may be in the cards for you if you want to
No,
go on
really?
Spirit Airlines. Yeah.
I could be for that.
You'll
My
get you-
venture card.
You're,
is
you're
coming
paying
in.
for each propeller blade, just remember.
Yeah, you'd have to wear exactly what you're wearing. I'm not paying for your bags or anything. It's
You
only
have to pay
89.
to check a bag?
You have to pay to carry on
Carry
a bag.
on a bag.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, buddy,
Yeah.
have you never flown the unfriendly skies of Spirit Airlines?
No, my
Yeah.
parents are teachers. We do okay.
We're going $89 round trip. I could get you there.
We
I
could
could
do
do
that.
that. I'm
yeah,
not-
we'll do it. We'll do a day trip. I'll make a video.
I'm sure. Let's see, White Sox tickets. I'm sure those.
Oh, they're
are-
giving those
You
away.
think
I
Those are
bet you I
free.
can get in for $5.
I bet you could get. I bet you could get in for free.
If I asked really nicely, like, hey, I'd like to go to the game. Why?
Look, I'm here.
I bet you there's people outside that arena, or that stadium, handing out tickets.
Let me in.
Yeah. Let's see here. I bet we could get you in for $5. I bet we could get you in
Oh,
for
for
less
sure.
than $5. I bet we could be all in if you're just going to stay at the airport. I bet we could get you
Hundo?
all in $100.
I would do this. I'm not kidding. I would get on a plane, fly down, go to the game, eat the food,
Yeah.
fly back same day. Do the whole thing.
Do the whole thing.
I bet you'd be more expensive for the food and the Uber.
Oh, I guarantee it would be.
Let's see here. Let's see what we can get. As low as $7, we can get you in.
Yeah.
I'm so down.
We can get you in for $7.
I'll make a whole video of this thing. It'll be great.
We can get you for
Vlog.
$7.
I gotta find a way to do I need to do this during the NBA season. Go to a couple road trip games for
Dude.
like the cheapest possible method.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just shoot a vlog, and then
Yeah.
you can say you're working.
Yeah, no, I mean
You're not even taking vacation.
Well, no, I'd be working in
Right.
general, but also like make some content out of this.
Yeah. Who are they playing on? Oh, gosh.
They play the A's for the next 4 games.
Yeah. But August 26th, you can get in the door. I mean, that's probably a game that is going to be brutal.
it
It's against it's against the Tigers. You
That'd
can
be
go see
fun.
the Day game.
Might see Scooble.
Oh, you could get
Day game?
$4 tickets
Day game, $4 tickets. I'm so down. I'll go. Do the Cubs play that night? I'll pay for that one on my own.
Yeah, golly, look at their tickets as low as 7, 15, 17, 9, 3, 3,
Nasty
3,
work.
4,
I
3,
think
7.
the idea here is you get in for 3, and then we see how close to the field I can get.
You could be on the field.
Yeah,
I bet you they'd be like, yeah, come on down, man.
2 milkshakes, double fisting milkshakes down.
Yeah. Dang, let's do I think we may have something going on here.
Odyssey, call us.
Yep. There we go.
We probably got to crowdsource this.
No. We get you. No, we get. Yep, you get there. You could go.
Is it nonstop?
Nonstop on the
Wow.
26th. You'd leave at 12:20 a.m. Get there by 6:21 a.m. And the game is at 11:10 a.m.
No, I could get into so much mischief.
Yeah,
Red Eye into Chicago. I like it.
and then we could get you back. We could get you back at. Jeez. The cheap tickets for getting back are you'd leave at 12:49 a.m. You'd be there for less than 24 hours.
Literally double Red Eye.
That's plenty of time, though. In that time, I could go down, have a good time pregame, go do the White Sox thing, and then for work purposes, I would have to hit the town of Chicago, see if I could get on one of those boats, go sailgating, and then I go back to the airport.
Wait, do you know where their stadium is in South Chicago?
The South Side.
Do I need to check in with like
I don't think
Little Dirk?
you're not sailgating anywhere.
No,
there.
that's in Chicago, though. That's on the lake or whatever. You can go hang out. No, I wouldn't sailgate.
I
the
think
White
we need a
Sox.
Wikipedia map for you.
No. I'm just saying, like, sailgate, like, in Chicago. They do a lot of stuff on the water.
They do. Not near where the White Sox play.
All right, coming up next, Ryan Krauser, best Oregonian athlete I've ever. Hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan. We appreciate you. We love you here on the afternoon show here on Danny and Dusty. It is a Olympic love fest. We're in the throes of athletics, as it were. And a local legend, Ryan Krauser, went out there and dominated yet again, boring Oregon's own in the shot put in a manner that was, God, dare I say, laughable?
Yeah, well, when you go into prelims and you throw one throw and you just say, that's it, I'm done, and then you go into the finals and all three of your throws in finals would have won you gold, I would say you're dominating your sport. And then, oh, by the way, three-peat in the shot put for the gold. What we're seeing, a world record holder, Ryan Krauser, I think undeniably at this point, we can say is the most decorated athlete to ever come from Oregon. He is a world record holder, 3-time gold medalist, multi-time world champion. And it's something that the conversation is like, is he the greatest athlete to ever come from the state of Oregon? But I don't think that we can deny he's the most decorated athlete to come from the state of Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, because I think your list, you're going to include Ashton Eaton.
Ashton Eaton, world record holder in the decathlon.
2-time gold medalist.
Mountain View High School. Won 2 golds. The world's greatest athlete is pretty distinguished.
Decathlon.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's a pretty good one to have.
Muriel Zagunis is up there as a
fencer,
multiple-time gold medal winner. Was it 2 golds, 3 bronzes? Trying to think. Mac Wilkins was a multiple-time Olympian.
Yeah, multiple-time Olympian.
1 gold, 1 silver.
But I mean, you're not in that conversation. Krauser's world record holder, 3-time gold medalist, multi-time world champion, NCAA champion. I think it is pretty easy to say the most decorated. I still think the greatest athlete to come from the state of Oregon is Danny Ainge.
Probably Danny Ainge.
When you are drafted in Major League Baseball, you play in the NBA and have the career that he did, a multi-time world champion.
He's one of 2 only recognized 3-sport All-Americans in high school sports.
Yeah, was a parade All-American in 3 sports in high school. I
can never remember the second guy.
I would also go, like, you can go back. I mean, Terry Baker winning a Heisman Trophy, starting point guard for a Final Four team, and being the pride of Jefferson High School. His Jefferson High School teammate Mel Renfro is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, phenomenal athlete in his own right, and was a 2-sport athlete at Oregon. You got Adley Rutschman, which hopefully the Orioles can hold up their end of the bargain. And when you think of Rutschman, holds the high school record still for the longest field goal in high school football history in Oregon. Kicked at Oregon, played baseball at Oregon, or kicked at Oregon State, played baseball at Oregon State. He is when you talk about just phenomenal athletes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, those guys are all in that conversation, but that's where you go. Krauser, I don't know. I think was he an all-state basketball player at Barlow? He's like
so.
6'7".
He's a massive
260 pounds.
What's crazy is my wife and I are watching shot put together, and like there's the different builds of shot putters. Like there's the Kovacs for Team USA, who looks like, I think, your traditional shot putter. He's probably 300 and something pounds, 320, 330, just massive barrel human. Whereas Krauser's one of the quote unquote leaner shot putters, but his levers are so much longer, and he's so much more explosive. His release point is so much further than everyone else's.
6'7", 320 pounds.
Who is?
Ryan Krauser is. Ryan Krauser is 6'7".
Goodness.
320.
And then there's the Italian. The Italian was was it? I can't remember. Was it Allegri? No. But he was the one who's closest built to Krauser. Did you see the Jamaican shot putter?
No.
Holy crap. That man, he looked like the guy that they got for any given Sunday. That his lats have lats. The other linebacker that played opposite of LT, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That massive, just brick wall of a human. That's what he looked like. And I was like, I thought you guys only had sprinters.
Yeah.
Like, where did you come from?
Mm-mm.
And
Mm-mm.
his name was Rajendra. Oh God, I can't remember his name now. But when I saw him come out, I was like, oh, he's terrifying.
Dude, Ryan Krauser threw a 16-pound shot,
23 plus meters.
74 feet. 16 pounds, and he threw it 74 feet.
He's it's one other person in the world that's thrown 23 plus meters.
My meathead son immediately went to, bet he could throw me way far in the pool.
Oh
I was
God,
like, yeah, dude.
Imagine being spun and thrown like that. My favorite thing about shot put
74 feet
is watching these guys pick up a shot put, number one, with one hand.
Yeah.
Like it's a golf ball.
That's crazy.
And then watching them hurl it 65 plus feet. And then watching this little 5'2" French judge go over to pick it up, and they bend over and they have to like pick it up with two hands.
Two-hand it.
And then you can see them kind of like quasi struggle with it because it's a condensed ball of 16 pounds of just solid
Metal.
weight.
Yeah. Just 16 balls of metal. The 16-pound ball of metal.
It's
just
insane.
Goodness gracious.
I think it's fair to say not only is Krauser most accomplished, I think he has the ability to put his name up alongside Ainge.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. His career, I mean,
Because his dominance it's Ledeckian, it's Phelpsian. It's like it's unfettered, unmitigated, ridiculous dominance.
in reality is like he'll be 35 for the 2028 games. He's going to be out of it by then.
You think so? Because he was so dominant that I wonder.
Well, it's injuries that are piling up. I mean, he had an elbow and a shoulder injury. I mean, he's been going through it at this point, and he's probably going to be done. But dude will go down as a world record holder, 3-time gold medalist, 2-time world champion, indoor world champion. Also holds the national record for high school discus.
Just because.
Just throwing stuff.
Yeah, really good at throwing big things very far.
What do you think that family reunion's like? Because he has two cousins, Sam Krauser and Haley Krauser. Both were jav throwers at Oregon. Like, do you think that family reunions just go and throw stuff? Yeah.
Barrel tosses. Just get together. Hey, none of us throw these, so it's all fair.
For my and I honestly I don't think. And by the way, his dad was an Olympian too. Ryan's
We're
dad.
coming full circle again to genetics matter.
Yeah, his uncle also an Olympian. But you think of the fact that what he has been able to do, I don't think it's a question. I think full stop you could say most decorated athlete to ever come out of the state of Oregon. Ever. The greatest athlete to ever come out of the state of Oregon. That's a little bit tougher because of guys like Ashton Eaton and Danny Ainge and Terry Baker and Mel Renfro and those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think of accomplishments from this state, which the list is not long.
No.
Right? I mean, this isn't like California or Texas that we're talking about.
Where you've just got an unmitigated list of, oh my God.
It is, it still is. And like, here I am at 40, I look at a guy like Ryan Krauser and I'm like, it is so damn cool that he is from the state of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's
from boring.
Yeah. From like the roots of his entire family, but Oregon through and through.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome to see a guy like that go. And I remember watching him at the high school state track when I was coaching high school track, being there and just going, dude, this guy is different.
It stands out.
He is just built different. Yeah. The way he throws, the fact that everybody just like at the high school state track meet, it was funny. Like everybody would be close, and then it was like, oh, here comes Krauser, and all of the judges just moved back, and it's like substantial.
Yeah,
how far they moved back for everything that he did. He's doing Oregon proud, and I love it.
You just knew it.
Yep.
Well, speaking a little bit different, Dave Bartu, College Football Matrix. Gonna come and hop on and talk college football.
He heard us talking earlier, and he was like, "I'm ready.
I'm ready." We'll bring him in. We'll talk about what Oregon has done and what some other schools haven't done as far as building together a talent pool that matters going forward. Coming up next year on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. Football Matrix. College football coaches poll has been released, and it's a whole lot of hullabaloo. And Dave, thanks for taking some time and coming on to talk talent acquisition with us. Do we have Dave? Do we have Bartu?
Is that it? Just talent acquisition? Man, we can go off on all sorts of things. I was returning the wedding kegs back to Main Brew, man, and I'm like driving down 26. I'm like, I hear Dave Bartu, talent. I'm like, hey, I know that guy. and so I'm like, hey, I got time today. I'm texting Dusty. I'm like, let's go. Let's do this right now. So, but before we go into talent acquisition, though, okay, let's get real about polls. Here's my thing about top 25 polls in the preseason. Okay, they're as worthless as spring football evaluations, number one. And number two, in spite of what all fans think or most fans think, there is no poll that comes out that has any impact ever on the playoff committee. It doesn't exist. That is unicorn, farting glitter, rainbow fairy tale.
And
okay?
I think that's the best thing about it, though, is that the college football committee actually waits to watch them play football games for a substantial amount.
They don't watch the games.
For a substantial amount of the season.
Why do they watch the games?
Well,
they don't have time to watch the games. There's another thing. You are dead wrong. They do not watch the games. And when they do, they don't know what they're looking at. If they knew what they were looking at, they'd be on the sidelines. They have a formula that somebody else tells them to manage. That's the only job of the playoff committee. You, me, Danny, Will, you put us all in there, right? And we are going to come up with the exact same thing following their protocol. They gave us the protocol day one. Nobody listened to it, and they followed it every single day for the last 10 years, except when they imposed a death penalty on Florida State, and there was a clause in the rules that gave them out on that as well.
But
so,
I will say then they let the season play out before they release any of the rankings.
They do because they need the season to play out to get the numbers to rank them within the ranking rules.
Right.
But even if they did this on the last day, if there was never a playoff committee meeting, the rankings would all end up being the same. They don't watch games. They don't have the expertise to watch games. They don't have time to watch the games. How do you watch 40, 50, 60 teams in 24 hours, think you're an expert and rank them? They don't. That's another thing that's crap.
That is
so correct. I know I took us down a rabbit hole. We're talking about talent acquisition.
No way with you. No way with you. We went down a rabbit hole with Dave Bartu.
I know. Well, I told Will, dude, top of the hour. You can have me as long as you want. I'll even hold over on breaks if we're rolling.
All right.
One of the things that we were talking about, and this is the thing that I've kind of beat the drum on for years with Oregon fans, was they would be good, but you would see these gaps when they'd have a class that made sense. They would lose guys, or they'd be weak in some position group. You would just see that it would bear itself out over the last couple of years. Obviously, started with Chris Ball and has continued into Dan Lanning's era now. Their talent acquisition and the talent depth that they have appears to be the best they've ever had, and that is kind of what is feeding into the positive momentum. Is my read on that incorrect?
No, it's not. It's not, right? Because who wins national championships, right? Mm-hmm. The national championship winners in the last 25 years, this entire century, there have only been two teams that didn't recruit in the top 10 of high school recruiting over the last 4 years, okay? If you're one of the top 10 recruiters of high school players over the last 4 years, period, nothing else considered, you have won 23 of the last 25 national titles. Okay?
Now,
the only two teams to do it, last year Michigan at number 12 and Clemson under Deshaun Watson at number 13. Okay? Now, and of all the teams that have lost the national title game, 19 of 25 are also top 10 recruiters. So you look at the winners and the losers, 43 of 50 are top 10 high school recruiters over the last 4 years. And Oregon just hasn't been there, right? Now, when they have, they fall in the next group. Everybody else falls in that 11 to 15 category. Those other 7 teams are all 11 to 15. And all but one of them had an NFL drafted first-round quarterback. All but one of them. Virginia Tech had Michael Vick. Deshaun Watson was at Clemson. A guy named Marcus Mariota at Oregon, right? Last year, J.J. McCarthy, first-round Michigan, all right? The only anomaly which maybe is in my opinion the single greatest anomaly of a loser of a national title in the last 25 years, is Ducks and Auburn.
Yeah.
Because Darren Thomas wasn't even drafted. Never even saw an NFL field. So that was the only thing really out of bounds in terms of recruiting. And I keep saying high school recruiting because unless you're paying $2 to $3 million for a quarterback to come in and make a difference like Cam Ward or Dylan Gabriel, I don't think any of it matters. It doesn't matter in the NFL. It hasn't shown to matter in college football. It's all about high school recruiting and retaining that top talent. And the difference for Oregon is exactly what you said. Okay, before Mario Cristobal and Dan Lanning, it was always outside the top 10, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. They never had the talent to do it. They couldn't put it all together. Now, I know every Duck fan, including myself, look, I'm an alumni. He's been a holder for 17 years. If Mariota was playing for Darren Thomas in that championship game, the Mariota we knew, that game was over, right?
Right.
If DeAnthony Thomas makes the block against Stanford and Mariota scores and they win that game, they are still scoring touchdowns on Notre Dame in that national title game. But now the narrative has flipped in that with NIL and the ability to just go out and buy players with whoever has the most money, now the Ducks are a top 5 recruiter.
Right.
You can't talk about national championship now without the Ducks, because the conversation has always been, can you recruit to a national championship? And if you couldn't, you pretty much exile those teams, cross them off the list. They're not going to make it. But the Ducks are there now. And so there's a couple other things that are in common of every single national title winner of the last 25 years outside of recruiting. The Ducks have all of those too. There is not one person that I could take seriously that says, oh, I cannot see Ducks as a national championship contender in 2004. All right, well, I guess you don't see Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State as contenders either because you're an idiot. You cannot say that. So with the Ducks, and the window is here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have gone over the schedule. It is the 5th easiest schedule relative to talent in the entire college football 2024. Now, 5th easiest schedule relative to talent. This is their year. If Dan just stops going against the numbers on 4th down. Just don't go against the numbers on 4th down. He's gone against the numbers 3 times. He's 0 for 3. They should be undefeated in all of those games, I believe, at least one loss. Then, yes, they are in the middle of the discussion. Absolutely.
One thing that kind of piqued my interest is you talked about Michigan being the anomaly outside the top 10, or one of the anomalies being outside the top 10 in winning a national title. But the transfer portal has been infinite with how much benefit you'll see that teams get. And I think Oregon is going to be a beneficiary of this year with the way that you plug and play guys who aren't your traditional high school players and you get them into your system. Last year, Michigan, if you look at like the 24/7 transfer portal rankings, which people could take those for what they will, but they were a top 10 finisher in transfer portal rankings. How much is the transfer portal affecting some of these contenders who may get that boost? Or I think Michigan was 15th last year. They may get a boost, but also some of the top tier programs like Alabama, who we saw last year, whether it's Kyrie Jackson or Trayshawn Holden, they came to Oregon and they kind of siphon off a little bit of that recruiting talent. How much is the transfer portal affecting these recruiting rankings for these contenders that are coming in and popping from year to year?
I haven't been able to see it conclusively across the board, right? I mean, you pointed out Michigan. Well, what about everybody? Michigan is top 15 in transfer portal in the last 4 years, let's say. Okay? And we haven't had the transfer portal open long enough to really even have a sample size to conclusively say, is it or is it not impacting college football? And it's my opinion that unless it's a quarterback that has major impact, it's not going to impact it because, look, the Ducks are a top 10 recruiter. Right? So it only goes to really assume that they're still going to be top 10 in the transfer portal if they need it. Ohio State, top 10 recruiter. They're going to be top 10 in the portal if they need it. But if you look at the NFL, okay, because I see the transfer portal, that's just college free agency. And in the NFL, the more you use NFL free agency, the more games you lose. The worse you are at drafting, the more you use the transfer portal, free agency, the more games you lose. It's almost linear. And so without the data, my assumption going in was a guy like Deion Sanders that goes, I'm all transfer portal. Dude, you're going to get smoked.
Yep.
you are going to get smoked because in the NFL, you get smoked. And last year, he got freaking smoked.
Yeah.
Right? And this year, they're going to, if they start, I'll say this right now. Here's one of my hot takes. Okay? I'll give you a hot take. Is they lose to North Dakota State in week 1, they're going 0-12. Things going to fall apart. Okay? Right now, their win total is not 5.5. I have UCLA and Colorado combined under 5.5 wins.
Wow.
They are both going to get absolutely pounded into the dirt this year. And for Colorado, again, you have no cultural continuity. You turned over your whole roster again.
Yep.
It didn't work last year. It's not going to work this year. And then this year, you turned over your whole coaching staff. You lost all your good coaches. And then your offensive coordinator, who was one of your best coaches, bounces to San Diego State, and you hire Pat Shurmur, who is graded bottom 5 offensive coordinator in the NFL for the last century. He's a bottom 5 out of 118 offensive coordinators. He's bottom 5 in the NFL. So I don't believe in the transfer portal, maybe to fill holes. But I would rather go Dabo and go all high school than to go to the transfer portal. But last year, so I looked at everybody's record without the transfer portal. And the best high school recruiter, regardless of road or home, won 72% of all the football games in FBS last year. 133 teams, 72% of all the games you would have picked dead on right for the winner on September 1st if you simply went with the best high school recruiter. That's the first time it's broken 70 in 15 years since I started keeping track of it.
Wow.
It's actually gotten – high school recruiting has actually gotten, in my opinion, more important than transfer portal. So don't get way over your skis on the transfer portal because you have cultural continuity problems. You got problems with guys moving down. You know, now Oregon's usually they're going to pull guys up, right? They're going to pull guys that are at lesser programs. But I'm seeing program after program. You take lateral transfers, you take transfers down. Those guys are not performing. Stay away from the transfer down. But you know that's my thought on the transfer thing. Don't get over your skis on how important it is.
All right, we're gonna get some more thoughts with you. We're gonna hold you to your word. You want to stay through the break with us?
I promise. Dude, I'm right here in your backyard. How can I not? I told you I'd be here for you guys anytime. You just got to pick up the phone.
All right, we appreciate you, Bartu. All right, we're gonna keep it going with Dave Bartu after this break with Big Will Betts here on 1080 The Fan.
Now,
Bartu, I've got a position group question for you. That's one that I've kind of been wondering. With the evolution and the change in 7-on-7 and focus and how NFL and high college level ready wide receivers seem to be, are you noticing any changes, in trends as it pertains to wide receiver recruiting or the dispersal and how much more volume of higher end wide receivers there are in college football?
Well, I think it depends on what you define as higher end. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've never talked to you about this before because it's something that we just started doing throughout college football, but we've been doing it in 3 years in the NFL, is advanced kinematics. It's athleticism testing, total body athleticism. And in all the position groups in the NFL, the greater your athleticism, the greater your longevity and the more starts you make per player in the NFL. It's literally linear, the more athletic your body is, by all positions, except two, wide receiver and tight end.
Interesting.
So, and I'm looking at that going, okay, the most athletic position in the NFL by far requirement is the higher the athleticism in linebacker, the better the player you can get. You know, the bottom half totally outperformed by the upper half. At wide receiver and tight end, it's very different in that the upper athletes, the most athletic guys in the same scale, don't outperform less athletic guys. And so I started talking to some wide receiver coaches and various guys, you know, because we work for 6 head coaches right now in the NFL on staffing, and we do the same thing in terms of the kinematics for them, and just individually talking to people, trying to figure out, okay, if it's not the athleticism, what is it? And here's my hypothesis on it. Can you catch the ball?
Yeah.
Can you catch the ball? And I know that sounds funny. It's wide receiver. It's tight end. But there are so many guys that are drafted on potential, speed, size, right? Power, strength, all of the, wow, look at his 10, his 20, his 30, his, you know, this, that, and the other. But can you run a route? Can you read a defense? Can you anticipate? Can you high point the ball? Can you catch the ball in traffic? And it is, the tight end is less so. But at the wide receiver level, it is amazing, Danny. And I'll sit down with the numbers sometime with you when we have time to really sit down and talk. I'll show you this. And
you know I love it.
It is amazing how all of these incredible wide receiver athletes, these guys, I mean, we just had, 6, 7, 8 guys go in the first round of wide receiver?
Mm-hmm.
Massive risk. I mean, massive risk. Those guys are so incredibly overvalued. Yeah, somebody's going to catch lightning in a bottle on a couple of them. But the numbers say that is an incredible risk in the first round. And so for whatever reason, I think the perception is kids are bigger, faster, stronger, blah, 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 blah. They seem to be more wide receiver NFL ready. But the numbers say that pales in comparison to, can you catch the football no matter where it is? Give me a guy that is a really good athlete that catches every ball my quarterback delivers versus the great athlete that makes the great catch once in a while.
Yeah, I think it's something in that too, is because feel is a big one too, and getting open in the NFL is feel, because of the athleticism on the opposite side of the ball. If you have a corner or a safety who's over the top of you, those guys are, everybody's a freak athlete, and it kind of cancels each other out. And you're on it with catching the damn football, most important thing a receiver can do. But that feel of how when the DB's hips flip and you break your route down, that is, you know, those are the intangibles where I don't think you can't manufacture a test to see if a guy has that it or not, right?
You can't. We can get the athleticism score, right? I can do my athleticism score relative to you, and my athleticism score. You know, let's say one of my NFL guys go, okay, I'm not looking at Bartu. He doesn't have the athleticism to even make a roster in the NFL. Dusty does. Okay, he's at 83.47. Great. This guy is a 1 to 4th round draft pick. Now let's go to the film, and I don't want to see the film of him making pretty catches. I want him making all the ugly catches. Right. I want to do my due diligence to see if this guy can catch the ball. The athleticism side is really more of a filter, and then you go to the eye test instead of wasting your time on a lot of guys that don't have the athleticism to even make an NFL or a college football roster.
I feel like you're speaking directly to N'Keal Harry and Quentin Johnston right now. Right now in the NFL.
Who's that?
Johnston, the receiver for the Chargers, and Keel Harry, who's now I think trying to play tight end somewhere. Good luck with that.
Right?
Yeah.
And so those guys were probably athletic enough, right?
Yep.
But could they catch the ball?
They all look the part, and freaky athletes.
Right. One guy that always comes to mind that I like, Pac-12 guy, right? Never the fastest, right? Big, strong guy, but not the fastest. But everybody says he's a precision route runner. He can read defenses, and he catches everything. But his numbers didn't make him jump as a lottery guy, right? Keenan Allen.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? Keenan, was he the fastest guy? Hell, even Jerry Rice. This is what kind of triggered it. This kind of dates me too. But I remember there was an interview with his coach at Mississippi Valley State, and they said, "What's the greatest thing about Jerry Rice?" And he responded with, "He can catch a BB in the dark."
Yep.
Right? Not the fastest guy, right? Not the biggest guy. He's not cut like Metcalf. He's not as fast as it's not as fast as a lot of these guys, but he caught everything, and he was a student of the game to read the defenses, to get on page with his quarterback. So I don't get over my skis over really big, fast, athletic guys anymore on wide receiver and tight end at college and the NFL. Can you catch the ball?
You mentioned earlier that Oregon has a 5th easiest schedule relative to talent this year in all of college football. I would assume then that you are buying the Ducks high on their win totals this season.
How do you not? They only play one team. They out recruits them, and they get them at home, right? they get Michigan in a great window. Their offense is gone. Their coaching staff completely got replaced. I see Sharon Moore on people's top 25 as head coach. I'm like, dude, he's never even coached a game. He may not ever coach a game, but seriously, I don't know how you don't buy it, right? I mean, unless somebody gets hurt that we're not seeing, unless they get in a lot of critical 4th down situations that they go for it, where they're actually due. Even if they keep going against the numbers, they're actually due to be successful on a few of those. But in fact, Ohio State and Oregon, I'm absolutely buying them because Ohio State has the 3rd easiest schedule in college football relative to their talent. And just for everybody listening, just to let you know, I've been doing ease of schedule for nearly 15 years. And in the last 10 years of doing it in the college football playoff era, 9.5 teams per year finish in the top 12 out of the top 20 in ease of schedule, right? So 1 year 9, 1 year 10. So the vast majority of your top 12 is coming out of the top 20 teams with ease of schedule. That's another reason. Actually, I just love the Ducks and Ohio State to play. They can play 3 times this year. They play at Autzen, play in the Big Ten championship game. They might get mashed up in the playoffs again.
Jeez.
Bartu, thanks for taking some time for us, man. We appreciate you.
We need to do a football palooza with you.
Yeah.
Soon.
Dude, don't be a stranger.
We'll get it on the books.
Let's go live somewhere. Let's drink beer for 3 hours and talk nothing but college football, like a McMinimans or something.
I love this.
I'm right here for you guys.
I love this.
Ask me.
We can probably make that happen.
You're the man, Bartu.
Dave Bartu at
Take
the
it
College
easy.
Football Matrix. As always, the best thing about Bartu is you wind him up and let him go, and
Just let him go.
You're just going to get all of the information.
He was literally just listening to the show earlier when
And
we
he
were
texted
talking, and he's like, he texted me, he's like, I'm here. Talent, I got you. And so
And we barely
got
scratched
him.
the surface.
yeah, we really did.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. So we'll put a nice little bow on the coaches poll and where Oregon sits and all this, and a couple final notes here on what Bartu mentioned as we come back here on Danny and Dusty, 10 the Fan.
A home
on willy-nilly because we love him.
Great dude.
Great dude. And we'll find a way to talk college football and have beers, whether that's on air or not. We'll just find a way to do that. Tomorrow morning, in the wee hours and then leading up into our show, the final bracket for Olympic basketball underway.
Oh, really? Already?
Yeah, Team USA will tip off 12:30 our time against Brazil. But we got great matchups. Australia, Canada.
Ooh, that one's going to be a good one out the
That's
gate.
the matchup.
Dylan Brooks is like, he turns into a different player in Olympic
A
basketball.
good player. That's versus a bad player.
Yeah. I have come to this conclusion when watching FIBA officials. I want it in...
FIBA rules in the NBA.
Yeah, I want that.
I'm-
they started officiating games more similarly during the final run of the playoffs, like post All-Star break, where it was like, wow, so much contact. Well, yeah, if you watch one of these FIBA games, it is so much better to watch. Some of the players aren't nearly as good, but it's so much better brand of basketball to watch.
Yes.
I like it.
No,
far more.
It is. Now, I don't know if we necessarily need to go like full no 3 seconds.
No,
That's a little much. Same with the closer 3-point line. But overall,
Yeah.
I
don't want Jim Boeheim's 2-3 zone coming
no,
to the NBA.
God no. But the general feel and how it's officiated, the physicality, the both allowing more physicality while putting more emphasis on calling fouls on ease of movement.
Want it.
I do like it.
Like
I
it.
also like the rim rule. Taking the
the
ball off the
tip-ins?
rim.
Yeah,
tip,
yeah,
tip,
yeah.
tip ins
Tip-ins
and
and-
tip outs.
Yeah.
If I could take one thing actual rule wise from FIBA, it's that.
Nice. Yeah, I would be in on that.
It
too.
would. It makes rim presence both offensively and defensively infinitely more valuable.
And at the same time, it takes away so many of the stoppages that we see on goaltending
Yeah,
calls. Like, just get
goaltending
them
just
out
doesn't
of here.
exist.
Get them out of here.
Go get it and either finish it or don't.
Yeah. Okay, I'm in on that. Let's do that.
That's the one for me.
All right. Noah Lyles, he won the 200 with ease.
And